I mean, again, yesterday or today it was, Mayor Adams comes out and says, he goes, look, something's got to stop. He goes, by the way, there was the subway shooting that we had here a couple of days ago. A guy goes into the subway, throws some smoke bombs, for some reason shoots everyone in the legs. I don't know what he was thinking. I think he got this spatial disorientation from the smoke.
He had the
thought
aim of
he
a
was
Canadian.
going like this, but he was shooting down. Like some people get that in planes and they fly the plane right into the ground because they can't see the horizon. If it was so smoky and had a gas mask on, I've done that in video games where I'm going, what the hell's going on? But so after that happened, the next day, 13 shootings, 2 deaths in New York City. So the mayor comes out and says, he goes, look, and this is the first time I've really heard someone say this. He goes, look, every one of these victims was black. Every single one. I spent all this time in the Bronx and Brooklyn today. And he goes, where's Black Lives Matter? Where's Black Lives Matter? Because these young kids are being killed in these communities. And he goes, what, their lives don't matter? And I've heard people say that ad nauseum, usually white dudes on social media, and everyone goes, oh, shut up, it's racist. But to see Mayor Adams say this, it got my attention. I was like, oh, fuck. He's addressing the community like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing, asshole? And giving the smack in the head. It was refreshing to see.
Because I think part of it is because it's confusing for a lot of people because it's hard unless you're in that situation, because Black Lives Matter was made to protect people from those who were supposed to be protecting them. Mm-hmm. Because theoretically there should be no term as black on black crime, because you never hear the phrase white on white. Why do you never hear the phrase white on white crime? Mm-hmm. When that's the majority of the crime that happens, right? So the black on black, white on white, it's an interracial thing. What the Black Lives Matter thing is to stop those who are supposed to be protecting us from killing us, right? And we've even had, I've marched for that in the States, and I've marched for that in Toronto too, because we had same situations in Toronto, but nowhere close like the States. Like our police officers are ridiculously educated in Toronto, so shout out to them. But we've had situations like that, but they've gotten a lot better. But that's why it's not Black Lives Matter job to deal with black on black crime, because black on black crime is the same as white on white crime. And it's a paradox that a lot of people can't figure out, and that's a very general way to try and say it.
Don't they bring it up because there's so many more, there's a lot more white people, right? Like, aren't black people like a small minority who are,
there's a per capita,
it's something like it's a combination
percentages,
of that, right? Yeah. So it's like their purpose is to stop the officials from killing black people for no reason. Because if I'm just the
cops are the worst.
If some idiot's just running away because
that's the whole other thing.
They're not getting sympathy out of Kyle.
No,
you should not be getting shot in the back of the head because of a taser. You know what I mean? So that's what it's about.
You're not going to find a more staunch ally than I when it comes to the police, my friend.
Oh, I know, brother.
No, I did see that video today, and obviously an investigation has to, as in every shooting, has to go down. But when I see,
hold on,
Benjamin,
before you say something,
okay, go ahead.
The police should not. The bad thing about the States is that they don't have a third party to rule over these things. So in Toronto, you have a whole different organization that is not connected to the police, who judges whether there's a good shooting or not. Right? Yeah. The police do not judge. The police do not police the police in Toronto or Canada. You have different parties to do that who are unbiased.
Well, the investigation, it does go to a grand jury if it's deemed to be a bad shooting, and then they take over. It's very hard these days for people to kind of get away with things that probably were a lot more commonplace years ago because of cameras and whatnot.
Who deems it a bad shooting?
Well, the grand jury would.
The
grand jury would take on.
How does it get to the grand jury?
You're going to need a DA to get involved.
It sounded like if the cops decide it's a bad shooting, then it goes to the grand jury. Maybe I misunderstood.
Oh no. They could do
No.
their own investigation, but the cops also, the internal police department investigation can't just say, well, that's fine, and then the district attorney goes, well, the cops said it was okay. Like if they
It feels like that
deem
most of the
That's
time.
how it happens.
Most
though.
of the time, so I'm not an expert on the topic, but it seems like most of the time the cops are like, well, we don't really love it, but they were kind of in line with department policy.
Well, but there's two ways that could go.
Okay.
It's a horribly corrupt, racist department, or there's a lot of good shootings that people have grave misconceptions about how they happened because of bullshit social media and bullshit mainstream media. So, I've seen so many cases where people had a complete lack of information about a shooting. I watched the trials in their entirety, and then when the verdict comes out in favor of the officer, because everyone heard bullshit, they go, oh, black man can't use his blinker. Like it becomes that. Meanwhile, I was like, yeah, he used a blinker. He hit it with his gun as he was shooting at the cop. It seems like a lot of people, and I'll even say on both sides that there's a lot of people so uneducated of a certain situation. I mean, there are people like Benjamin Crumb. He comes out anytime there's a police shooting of a black man, and he will instantly. And he came out on this taser thing, instantly say, and I saw his personal post on Twitter before anything was looked into. Unarmed black man shot in the back of the head, was not committing any violence against the officer.
What's
now I'm
the
like,
taser thing?
shit.
Is there a new one, or
Yeah,
is
we
this the
haven't.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, this is a guy gets pulled over. He had a plate on the back of his car that did not match the car. So
Okay.
the officer pulls him over. He gets out of his car before the officer even gets near his car. The officer goes, back in your vehicle, back in your vehicle. He also has a passenger in the passenger seat, another gentleman in the passenger seat. The guy didn't get back in the car. The cop continues to walk over. He goes, okay, license. The guy just stands there looking at him, and he goes, what did I do? What did I do? The guy goes, do you have a license? Let me see your license. This was very, it went back and forth. It was very tense right from the beginning. So the guy decides at some moment he's going to run because the officer says, turn around. He wasn't complying with orders to show ID. He kept asking, what's the matter? He goes, this plate does not fit the car. Guy takes off. They get into a physical altercation on the lawn of a house that they were pulled over near. The cop pulls out his taser, hits the guy with the taser after they're struggling for a little while. It doesn't seem to do much. I don't know what that's all about, but I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So
Tasers
now
are
the
50-50.
cop's holding the taser. He's telling him, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting. They get on their feet a couple of times, then they're back on the ground. Now the guy grabs the hand with the taser, and he starts grabbing toward the taser. And now the cop's yelling, let go of the taser, let go of the taser. Now, also, I want people to understand, a taser fires the prongs out, and at a distance, you can zap somebody. After you fire that, it becomes a stun gun. You can literally hit someone with it, pull the trigger, and it becomes a stun gun type taser. So it's
Some
not.
of them can.
It's not, and
ones they
these
use
ones
have,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, the ones the cop was
It's
using do.
X26.
Yeah, so the guy finally got possession of the taser.
The guy
that's
being bad guy.
Bad man.
The perpetrator there, or whatever, the victim, depending on how you want to look at it. The cop immediately pulls his gun, boom, shoots him in the back of the head because he had the taser in his possession.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Now, again, an investigation needs to be done. But I will tell you one thing: Benjamin Crumb's synopsis of that was nowhere near accurate when he said unarmed, peaceful, nonviolent cop does this. And again, it's based on nothing but the race baiting that guy does. And it's all for profit. I see him as the new millennium's Al Sharpton or something like that. But
I've seen that before.
it needs to be investigated, obviously.
Oh, I
but
mean,
to
like,
instantly say, oh, here's another racist, murderous cop. Because look, you're even though if you hate cops, this guy is doing his job, and lives can be destroyed by bullshit on either side, whether it's the victim, the perpetrator, the cop, the victim, the perpetrator. Lives can be destroyed, and we've seen a wake of destroyed lives when shit like this happens. So it's best to sit back and wait and see what the fuck the real information is.
Yeah, if he did get possession of the taser, then they're going to call it a good shooting. They always do.